Jai Mother. Charanam Sharanam Ramambige, Charanam Sharanam Trayambage. At the feet of Divine Mother Sree Rama Devi by Mrs. T.N.K Nair, the Divine Ministry audio book, Part 6b. The Maharaja of Cochin sent a message of greetings and homage to the Mother on the opening day. Sree K.P. Nair welcomed the audience, and Sree Ramadas Naik and Sree T.N. Nair were the speakers for the day. On the 23rd, eminent intellectual Sir S. Varadhajari presided, and the well-known speakers were Sree S.N. Devai and Sree K. Balasubramanya Iyer. On Thursday, the 24th, at 10 a.m., the special function was the laying of the foundation stone of the Sree Rama Devi Mandir at Pushpagiri Park, Pungunam. A pandal was put up in the plot donated by my mother. All the visiting dignitaries and the devotees came to Pushpagiri Park, our home, to pay obeisance to Divine Mother and Bhagwan. In her usual loving manner, Divine Mother made them known to my aged mother too, and sweets were distributed to all as Divine Mother's holy prasad. As the time for the ceremony approached, the pandal was overflowing with devotees. Mother and Bhagwan arrived amidst the chanting of Ram Nam and Veda Ghosha. As the chanting rose to a crescendo, Mother was seen to prostrate before Bhagavan. Then she took a handful of dust from the ground and placing it on her head, uttered in a ringing voice the words Satya Dharma in an exalted bhava, and then became silent in samadhi. The mystic import of those actions or words were not understood by us then, but everybody felt the abounding blessings showered on them by Mother Shakti for the sacred task ahead. Sir S. Varadhajari had been requested earlier to lay the foundation stone. To the sound of Nadaswaram, Shankhanadam and Ramanam, the ceremony began. Suddenly, as in a flash, we saw Mother move to the sanctified spot. In the splendor of her godhood, Mother stood with her hands raised in blessing till the stone was laid. In that surcharged atmosphere of divine benediction, we could feel that this was the opening of a glorious chapter in Mother's mission. The great scholar Sri V.V. Srinivasa Iyengar presided over the meeting that evening, and the learned speakers were Sri P. Seshadri and Sri E. Kunyikanan Nair. All the speakers paid glowing tributes to Mother and the relevance of her teachings to the present day world. The programs from morning till night were attended by devotees and the elite of the city. Trichur was witnessing a religious function of such magnitude for the first time, and many were drawn to Mother. On 25th December, there was a special meeting of all the devotees from the various places in her presence. There, for the first time, it was decided that different centers should be established properly and run by a board with a president, secretary, managing committee, etc., and proceed according to the ruling of the dictates of Mother's commandments and teachings. It was a great step forward, and definite shape and status was given to the mandalis. That evening, the eminent savant Sri K.S. Ramaswamy Shastri presided, and the erudite speakers were Sri T.S. Narasingha Rao and the Reverend Swami Vimalanandaji of Sri Ramakrishna Mad. No one witness to that gathering can forget this convention, which was the first coming together of mothers devotees in such large numbers. Guided by Sri Tampuran, Sri M.B. Menon, Mrs. M.C. Menon, and others, all the devotees worked in unison and dedication with meticulous attention to all details. Everywhere discipline was observed, unwanted talk avoided, so that a spiritual atmosphere prevailed. The volunteer devotees were ever ready to do even the meanest work to serve the delegates, and because of their adherence to the Mother's ideal of work as worship, the service invoked divine grace. Some of the visiting dignitaries attended the morning sessions and listened with reverent attention to Mother's discourse. Seeing the mass meditation in the mornings, they remarked that it was a wonderful sight to see so many men, women, and even children sitting silent and still as Buddhas, wrapped in contemplation. On 26th, the president of the meeting was His Highness the Ilayaraja of Travancore, and the eminent speakers were Sri G. Krishnamurti Iyer and Sri Kanagaraja Iyer. On the 27th, the main program was Mother's visit to Sri Ramakrishna Ashrama Vilangan at their invitation to participate in the birth centenary celebrations of the Holy Mother Sri Sharada Devi. Vilangan was about 10 miles away, and all the devotees accompanied Mother by bus and cars. Mother was given a rousing reception there. Later, during the bhajan, Mother went into great bhava, extolling Bhagavan Ramakrishna and the Holy Mother, and the great work done for humanity by the mission. A sumptuous lunch was served with great love by the inmates of the ashram. Soon after, Mother and party left for Trichur. These meaningful events express the universality of Mother. On 28th, all the morning session followed the schedule, but the evening was set aside for a visit and bhajan at the most famous temple of Shiva at Trichur, Vadakkunathan Temple. Situated on an elevated plain in the very center of the town, the main shopping and business centers of the town are grouped far down in a circle around the temple. In its historical lore, many great ones are associated with the temple, and the city itself derives its name from the famous temple. In the shrine, the original linga cannot be seen, as years of abhisheka using ghee has turned it into a pyramid of pearly hue. All the temple honors were offered to Mother, and after Arati in the shrine, the bhajan commenced on a specially prepared platform outside the shrine. Beautiful songs about Shiva were sung, and Mother was in the bhava of Shiva. The exultant notes of Om Namah Shivaya rose from 1,000 hearts, and the grandeur of the scene made us feel we were in Kailasa itself. As the bhajan came to a close, Mother, still in bhava, did not wait for anyone but sped through the dark corridors of the temple and into the car which was waiting far outside. The whole night, Mother was in Samadhi. On 29th was the visit of Mother and devotees to the well-known Guruvayur temple. The temple resounded with Narayana Nama. After worshipping at the shrine, Everybody gathered in the forecourt of the temple for bhajan. Song after song on Krishna followed. As the mother's full-throated melodious voice rose, high singing the sweet names Radha Krishna, surely the Krishna in the shrine was dancing with his Radha, while we as gopis watched and sang in ecstasy. It was a bhajan, the like of which I had never heard before. At the temple, the Trichur Mandali had provided for all the ritualistic pujas and for poor feeding on a large scale. Many of the learned pandits and devotees came and paid obeisance at mother's feet overcome by devotion. A glance of grace, a word of divine assurance were enough to give peace to many a suffering soul. Who can guess the mysterious acts at the time God takes a form in the world? It is said, they bless the ground they tread, that they bless temples and devotees to resuscitate devotion to the various archa forms of God. On 30th, there was a mass Akhandanama for the ending of the 9 days Japa, which concluded on 31st December. At noon, there was the Daridra Narayana Puja, feeding of the poor, which was dear to mother's heart. As the poor feeding began, mother entered the hall and singing the name of God, she sat down joyously with them and had her food there. It was yet another instance of the universal heart of mother, which saw the rich and the poor, nay, the whole of humanity, as her children. On the final day, the 31st, the conference concluded in the noon with joyous fraternal wishes and farewells. What the conference fulfilled was not only the recognition and appreciation of mother's messages by intellectuals. Devotion and faith too were generated by mother's samadhis and divine powers. Equally powerful was the impact of her enchanting personality, her spiritual talks, and the moral lessons emerging from the sublime life she had led. Her assertion that realization of God was possible in the portals of home itself was a new concept of profound significance to many, backed as it was by the authority of her divine life. It opened the doors of spirituality to householders. Mother had said her great ideals and the integrated sadhana should be practiced first in the small circle of the home, then in the wider circle of the centers, and finally broaden out to embrace society and the world itself, so that the very essence of spirituality, truth, and righteousness could be resurrected with humanity living, moving, and existing in the sublime consciousness of God. After the convention, Mother and Bhagavan stayed on for some more time at Trichur. Mother's birthday, 4th March, was celebrated with great rejoicing at Trichur. There was programs almost every day. Many new devotees were granted Atmopadesh by Mother. We realized that after such a strenuous program, it was our duty to give Mother solitude and rest. So in April, Mother and Bhagavan left for a period of rest and solitude to our house on the banks of the Chalakudi river, about 20 miles from Trichur. The small village was called Pariyaram, and our house was situated in an estate. Far away from the din and bustle of the city, the house was a quiet retreat. This was not the first visit, for in May 1952, Mother and Bhagwan had come for a long period of solitude after a strenuous program at Madras. The cooling water of the river was so refreshing that Mother took her bath there both in the mornings and evenings. It was during the earlier visits that Bhagwan revealed to us many of the happenings in their life at Tellicherry and also the incomparable revelations granted to him. I have written in details about this visit in my book Mother and Bhagwan. During this visit, there were interludes when Mother came out of her long silence and solitude and imparted gems of wisdom containing the essence of her teachings. Short sadhana sessions too were held there when small groups of devotees from Trichur, Tripunithura, and Trivandrum came and stayed. It was a great opportunity for all of them to live in close proximity to Mother and to receive her liberating grace. By powerful discourses and parables, Mother taught them the importance of Namajapa, meditation, and all disciplines of sadhana. The ladies had the added joy of bathing in the river with Mother. It was a divine existence for them, to the total exclusion of the world and its vanities. Those days were to them imperishable golden memories. The blissful days sped past, and soon it was time for Mother and Bhagwan to leave. Early in June, they left for Mangalore. For us, the days at Chalakudi are unforgettable, and the joy of those times still linger in my memory with sacred beauty. Charanam Sharanam Ramambige, Charanam Sharanam Trayambage, Charanam Sharanam Ramambige, Charanam Sharanam Trayambage, Charanam Sharanam Ramambige, Charanam Sharanam Trayambage. Jai Mother.